Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on the region in which you are. It is a pleasure for me to lead this We Talk, this episode on We Talk. Tonight, we have the opportunity to talk with Dr. Sankha Randenikumara. Excuse me if I don't spell correctly your name. I think it's more or less as you spell it. And I suppose that for you is also difficult to say Josep Villaseca. So thank you for being with us. You are applying to Wonca World, to the elections Wonca World as a representative of young doctors. First of all, I think that the best introduction would be that you introduce yourself. So please, Sankha, tell us who are you?
Okay. Thank you, Joseph. I'm Sankha Randenikumara. I'm a young family physician from Sri Lanka. And also, I'm the chair of the Spice Route Movement, which is the Wonca Young Doctors Movement of South Asia. In addition to being a family doctor, I also work as an administrator in the state sector in a secondary care hospital in Sri Lanka. So I think that's plain and fine for the moment.
Okay, good. So let me first tell something about the regulations or how these webinars are organized. First, to remind the audience that you can ask your questions by clicking in the Q&A close to the chat. You will see in the right of your computer that there is Q&A, and then from there you can ask your questions, type your questions, and later on we will choose the most voted questions to be asked to the candidate. For each question, a maximum of 5 minutes. And also we will be on time at 7:30 Central Europe time. We will close this webinar. So, Sankha, you told us that you are a young doctor and that you are applying to Wonca World. What is your main interest in being a representative of young doctors in Wonca World? What are you going to do for Wonca World young doctors worldwide?
Okay. Right. Thank you. So I will tell about a few things which are my goals within these 2 years. The one main or the main goal, one of the main objectives is to play an advocacy role in the Wonca Executive Committee by being the voice of the young doctors all over the world. And I also hope to collaborate with the students' federations, that is international students' federations and associations, and also with the regional young doctor movements. This is not for anything else. This is to promote family medicine as a career option. This is my second goal. And thirdly, I would like to support training, recruitment, and also the professional development of young doctors all over the world. This is especially, I would be focusing on rural communities as well as the countries where the family medicine is not that developed as a discipline. In this, I would be also using the special interest groups as well as Wonca working parties, because by collaborating with them, I think we can always allow more professional engagement in the young doctors movement. So these are the three main goals I would like to introduce and carry out within my 2 years tenure.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Nick Mamo, who is a historical member of Vasco da Gama and now the president of its movement of Vasco da Gama. Good evening. How are you, Nick?
Good evening. Thank you, Josep. Hi, everyone.
So, please, Nick, could you ask Sankha something about what he's going to do in Wonca World?
Of course. Good evening, Sankha. It's nice to see you again. We've worked together for more than a year now, and it's good to see. It's good to hear your ideas. You've talked a bit about the advocacy role you would like to take. One of the other parts of your role is that you will be leading us as young doctors movement leads in hopefully regular meetings. So I was wondering, how do you think that the different young doctors movements can learn from each other, and how you can facilitate the process for us to learn and to be together working on improving primary care?
Right. Thank you very much for that question, Nick. I think all regions have their own strengths and probably weaknesses. But as young doctors movements, I think we can always share and create a forum where everybody can discuss and share their ideas, share the best practices, share the pitfalls, and according to the region, we can always select the best options that would be applicable in those regions. So what I would do is I would be a facilitator for this, and I'm definitely not going to represent one country or one region. By being the representative, I want to be the representative of all. I want to be the voice of all. So I would always ask you, I will always discuss with you about the best things for the young doctors in entire world. Now, in this, I have some resources that would be useful in future. About 2 or 3 years back, in 2019, a few of us got together and did a survey all around the world. In that survey, we could be able to identify the needs of young doctors and what they think as best things for them, best practice.
It seems that
Go forward as a movement. So my main suggestion is to make use of the platform that is there at the moment, and also we can create more forums, and we can share our ideas, we can facilitate, and we can learn from each others, and we can adapt whatever applicable to our regions. I think that answer would suffice.
Yes, it's definitely a very useful perspective. I'm also thinking a bit more specifically about how you would be able to facilitate the process for us as movement leads. So being from very different, very diverse regions, how you would facilitate that process and really be able to bring out different perspectives from across the world. I wondered whether you had any more concrete ideas, perhaps, on how you would be leading us as well.
Okay. I think what you're asking about the differences, right? Because the regions have their own cultural differences. Is that what you're asking about?
Partly, yes, it's about like the natural differences between the regions, the different cultures across the regions, but also how you are going to be able to bring that together as you lead us, as you chair our meetings, as you help us come together.
Okay. I think already we are sort of exchanging and communicating as leaders. From 2016, Nick, I was with the Wonca young doctors and also with the family doctors, regardless of the age. So I have recognized the cultural differences, and also I have recognized the differences in the regions, and I also appreciate them, and I have admired them a lot. I mean, all these differences uh, can be useful in learning from each others and adapting them to our cultures and our regions accordingly. So, as there are 7 regions in Wonka, and these 7 regions are led by 7 leaders, chairs like Vasco da Gama, Swaisut, Rajakumar, and so on. I think already we have a common platform. Once in 2 months we meet and we discuss certain things. I think I would be anyway continue this process, which will facilitate us to discuss things. But also, I think I would be more liberal in listening to you and getting your ideas, which would be useful to me to go and represent you all at the Wonka executive. So, existing forum, existing platform, the region, to discuss more things and to listen to you and to bring forward your ideas to the Wonka executive. I think when you take the young doctors' issues and ideas, I have the feeling and I have seen that almost all of us have similar problems, similar issues, and similar interests. I think so. We can always discuss and come to consensus, and I can represent your voice at the executive. So, I mean, widening and broadening the platform and having more discussions and more dialogue would be my strategy to represent you at the executive, rather than being a single person.
Good.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shankar. Thank you very much, Nick. I would like to give the floor now to our president, Professor Shlomo Winker. Shlomo, I think that Burak is going to connect your face in a minute in order to ask your question.
Hi, Shanka. I presume that in your country now it's quite late.
Yes, it's 11:45 p.m. in the night.
Almost midnight. Almost midnight. Yes.
Almost midnight.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So thank you that you joined us today. It's a great effort. And I would ask you, from your experience as the president of your region Young Doctors Movement, can you give us an example of a project or an initiative that is running, that you run successfully in your region, that you think that could be spread now? If you will be elected, you will spread it worldwide in other regions.
Okay.
I mean about your activities.
Right. Okay. Yes. There are several projects that we have initiated.
You should start from the beginning because
Something happened in the pandemic.
you should start from the beginning because the transmission was not so good. So start your reply from the beginning.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right, thanks. Yes, there are several projects actually carried out by the Spice Route in the South Asia region. But I would say how pandemic a story of a blessing in disguise. That's the pandemic, this COVID. Because when you take the pandemic, we had several issues, and the usual meetings that would have been face to face was not carried out, not conducted. So what we did, the council, the Spice Route Council, got together and discussed how we can go forward and how we can communicate with our membership, not only the membership, but how can we be and go forward as a movement in this pandemic time, not to be dormant, but how to be more active by using this pandemic. So what we did was, and what we discussed and the consensus we came was to have CPD programs in each and every month, at least one, and to the topics or the reason for there should be a reason for CPD programs monthly. But what we did was we made it something easier. We selected some international days that are relevant to primary care. The Mental Health Day, World Diabetes Day, things like that. And we divided our responsibilities, and we have 7 countries. Out of that, 6 are active. One doesn't have members at the moment. That's Maldives. So we divided these days among ourselves, and every month we had about 2 or 3 days to celebrate. Out of one was converted into a webinar, and the other 2 was used to make useful videos to give a message to the public. So for last 1.5 years time, every month the Spice Route was doing a webinar, which was really appreciated and well received by not only by the region but also by the other regions, the young doctors all over the world. So actually the pandemic became, that's why I told it was a blessing in disguise, because we became more active and we were able to do more CPD activities by using many resource persons around the world and everywhere in the region, which was a real success. I think this is something. I'm not telling that I'm going to do certainly the same thing in the world or as the YDM leader. I would like to use this concept in future to have or formulate CPD programs among young doctors. So this also, I think, shows how a challenge could be converted into an opportunity. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Shanka. Thank you very much, Shlomo. Now, I would like to give the floor to our president-elect, Professor Thomas Fraser. Thomas, I think that Burak is going to connect your camera. Hi, yes. Thomas.
Thank you. Hi, Shanka. Thank you, Joseph, for the introduction. Shanka, you already mentioned, some kind of new formats which could be introduced to bring young doctors into more activity and to facilitate things. But I would especially like to ask, what should we what else should be done, or which measures should be taken? What would be the most important to be changed to bring them in a close connection to Wonca, which is a long-term connection? What do you think about this?
I think as young doctors movements, we should be more active in our own countries. So when we actively involve in probably interesting areas of the young doctors, because most of the young doctors love to learn. They love to widen their knowledge, their skills, the professional development. Those things could be addressed by the young doctors movements, I think. So that would be a way to attract the young doctors to our movements, so to the Wonca, to the family medicine. So I'm answering this to the same question, and I'm telling that one of my main goals would also be attracting more young doctors to the discipline, to family medicine.
It seems, yeah, it seems, Shankar, that you are experiencing connection problems, that the internet connection is weak. We hope we'll recover.
Make it one of their short category. I mean, they would love to learn, they would like to engage in certain things. So I think we can make use of that opportunity to attract them to the family medicine field, and thus to Wonca as well. I think there should be a strategy. They should be incorporated in our programs, and we can always make use of them by using our programs, and say whatever the interested areas of them, to get them into family medicine and to connect them to our network.
Okay, thank you, Shankar.
Thank you, Shankar. We missed a part of your speech. At the beginning, there was a problem with your connection, and we did not hear a part of your speech. Do you want to add something to your message, or to highlight any point of your message?
Okay, it's because I think it's raining here. There's a heavy rain, probably because of that. The bottom line is, students and young doctors have their own interests, like training. They want to increase their knowledge, skills, and also they want to engage in probably CPD activities. So we can make use of this opportunity to be active in the field and attract them to family medicine by using our young doctors movements, by being active in own countries, and thus to Wonca as well. That was the key message I was of the things I was telling.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Thomas, our president-elect. And I want to remind the audience that they can ask questions to Shankar by using the Q&A button. You can see that there is a messaging system in the right of your screen, and you feel free to ask any questions to Shankar, who is going to respond. Shankar, I want to tell you something. Given that we are in Europe now, and you are speaking mainly to a European audience, what is your specific program for Europe? Nick will be paying attention to this response. What is the specificities of your program in the Young Doctors Movement for the European young doctors?
Okay, yeah, that's a difficult question, I have to say. But okay, I will tell. because what I have learned from Europe is different from the things I have learned from the other regions, probably. Because as I told, we can always share our ideas and share our strengths, best practices, etc., from each other regions and learn from that. One of the very important thing I see in Europe, now first I'm talking about Europe, is they are very strong in their research, even young doctors. And some of the especially research, and also how they coordinate things. I have learned a lot from them, their coordination abilities, and how they engage in research and how their network is built up. But I also feel certain things that Europe can learn from other young doctors' movements. For an example, when you take developing countries and regions like South Asia, Africa, they work in resource poor setting, and they use very scarce resources to bring out the best outcomes. I think this would be important to share with our European colleagues, I think, where they, even the young doctors in Europe, even in rural areas, can use this lesson and learn from that. And they can probably draw on that, I feel. If I, your question was about Europe, so that's why I told about that. But what I have felt throughout is by being to all these regions, young doctors' needs are similar in almost all regions. So even in Europe, I don't think there would be much difference in that. So we all are in the beginning of our careers. So we are financially not that stable. So we have some sort of a similar things to share, similar problems, as well as similar interests. So while I would be, of course, asking, and I would be getting advices, and I would try to get more sort of knowledge about problems in Europe by discussing with Nick and his colleagues in the Vasco da Gama, and I would be specifically addressing that as well. But overall, I would say the program we are going to do, or the goals we are going to achieve in all over the world, would benefit Europe as well.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So before closing, I think that we are about to close, but Nick Mamo, do you have any further question to Sankha? If not, Thomas will read and select the best question from the audience.
No, thank you. No, I do not. I don't think I have anything to add. I think Sankha has highlighted a few very important points well. And I appreciate that, and I really appreciate that you thought about what regions can learn from Europe, but also what Europe can learn from other regions. I think that's important to remember.
Thank you, Nick. So, Thomas, can you select the best question or the most voted question?
Yes, indeed. There's one question, but it's quite interesting because it addresses the needs of young physicians. Mehmet Fatih is asking what you, Sankha, would recommend to improve the communication skills of young doctors and how to facilitate the gaining in skills.
In 1 minute, response in 1 minute.
Yes, I'll go through the quickly. Yeah, I think this is one of the most important areas that we should address, communication skills, because we have seen all over the world, it's not treatment or management is the problem, but the communication with the patients. If we communicate with them, that would be the best thing. Even though we don't treat the best way, they will not get upset. But I mean, we have to always give the best care to them. But communication is the problem. So the question is, what would you recommend for young family physicians? Yes, I would recommend one is probably following role models. We can always understand, we can see role models who communicate properly with patients and also talk to patients. By talking to patients, we can understand what are their ideas and what are their expectations are. Ideas and expectations, and also what they want from us. I think so. Under these things, we can have many workshops to for young doctors, and probably by that we can probably learn a lot, the skills, communication skills. But I would suggest the best way would be follow your role models, and importantly, talk to your patients slowly. Don't be in a hurry. Always talk to them slowly. I think always family doctors can do it, because they are always very close to their hearts, and they are just like a family member of the doctor, the patient. So talk to your patients and try to understand their ideas and expectations, and also concerns. So address them. That would be the best way to improve your communication skills.
Thank you very much. We are 1 minute late, so we must close this WeTalk, this informal conversation with the candidates to the Wonca World elections. Thank you very much, Sankha, and good luck in the elections. And thank you, presidents, Nick Mamo, president of Vasco da Gama Movement, Thomas Fraser, president-elect of Wonca Europe, Shlomo Winker, president of Wonca Europe. And a big thank you to the audience who have been attending this WeTalk worldwide. Thank you very much. And as I told before, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, a good day for all. Goodbye.
Good night, Sankha.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.